from the United States, where Department of Justice has released thousands of documents related to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and the files were filled with names of world's most famous people, including former President Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and Mick Jagger. However, there was one notable exception in the file, that of US President Donald Trump's. While Democrats have noted that one photo of Trump has apparently been removed from the Justice Department's release of Epstein files, Democrats also say that one file with photo of Trump appears to have been removed from the initial data set that was released by the Justice Department. Additionally, the media has reported that at least 16 files have disappeared from the Justice Department's website. Meanwhile, extensive redactions and the limited number of documents released related to the Epstein case has angered some Republicans and has done little to diffuse a scandal that's threatening the party ahead of 2026 midterm elections. The Trump administration touted this week's release of a cache of Epstein-related files as a show of transparency, but a handful of Republican lawmakers and right-wing media figures joined Democrats in blasting disclosures as inadequate and possibly in violation of a law that prompted their release. And I'm now joined in by Matthew Wadham, who's an American journalist, and he joins us from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much, Matthew, for giving us your time and speaking to us at this hour. Matthew, it's startling that some 16 files have now just disappeared from the website of the Department of Justice, including one of Donald Trump. What do you think could have really happened?
Okay, but just before I do that, I just want to say, apologize. On the show last night or yesterday, I misspoke. I said the Department of Justice was withholding files related to the Epstein Island flight logs. I was incorrect. The department, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, specifically said they are not withholding them. Anyway, now it's apparently, thank you. I had to get that out of the way because after I said it, I realized I was wrong. Apparently some file related to President Donald Trump was posted on the Department of Justice Epstein Transparency Act website, and then it disappeared, and there has been no helpful explanation yet for what happened. So we're just going to have to wait to see what happened. All of the files were supposed to be made available online by yesterday. That is December the 19th, and now the Department of Justice is treating that as if that was actually the beginning of the date when they were supposed to disclose the files. In fact, that was the final deadline, as some Democrats have been pointing out. Some Democrats are very upset about, in Congress, are very upset that not all of the files have been dumped online yet. In fact, one of them, Congressman Ro Khanna, a Democrat, has said he's considering filing articles of impeachment against U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi for not getting all of the files online in time. Now, we don't know for sure what the delay was caused by, but there was a report before the deadline day, before the 19th, from CNN indicating that, based on anonymous sources, of course, indicating that the Department of Justice didn't have enough attorneys working on the redaction process, on screening the photographs and files, and that they just could not get it together in time. In fact, they were pulling National Security Division, they were pulling attorneys off of other cases so that they could focus on this, and there still wasn't enough. And some attorneys were being asked, to deal with 1,000 files at a time, which is quite a burden, especially, when you're dealing with attorneys, and attorneys never, they get paid by the hour. They never move quickly. So, and they also, the necessity, they don't move quickly because they have to make sure that they're complying with the law. The law allows redactions when no one is supposed to be redacted. No files are supposed to be redacted just because the subject is, rich or famous or powerful. But there are supposed to be redactions when a victim is shown or mentioned in the file, or when it could have an impact on an ongoing investigation.
Right.
So you can see how this might take a lot of time. However, legally, that's no excuse. Everything was supposed to be done by December the 19th, and it wasn't. So the question arises then, what can people who are upset about this do? They could sue, and if it's by the time it gets through the courts, this whole thing could be resolved and everything could be out in the next few days or next few weeks.
Sure.
Or they can take more drastic steps, as Congressman Ro Khanna of California, the Democrat, has suggested impeaching Pam Bondi. That seems like a rather extreme step to take for a bureaucratic screw up like this. But people are upset because they were promised that everything was going to be made public by a deadline imposed by a federal statute, a law passed by Congress, and it has not happened. So people are complaining, and I'm not sure. I don't know how many more photos or files are remaining. From what I saw, all I saw were pictures of some famous people, like the late singer Michael Jackson, and former President Bill Clinton swimming in a pool, and and him wearing a fancy silk, Italian-looking silk shirt with Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't see anything that looked particularly incriminating, and people are also wondering, when are they going to see, this is tabloid fodder. People are wondering, when are they going to see pictures of rich and powerful people making them look bad? That's what people want to see. They want to see
Matthew,
the mighty and
but
powerful
right now
brought
the
down.
question is the fear that some Republican critics are having about incomplete disclosure of these files ahead of the midterm elections, midterms next year. Do you think it is possible that one of the 16 files that had Trump's image as well, which was removed, could it be keeping in mind the midterms next year? Is that possible? I mean, there are no definite answers, but is that a likelihood?
I don't think it's going to cause, Republicans to lose the midterm congressional elections, if that's what you're referring to. But it certainly does not make Republicans who are associated with the Republican President Donald Trump, it does not make them good. It does not make the public trust them more. And this was an issue that they campaigned on, and their side is not delivering the way the public looks at it. So yeah, there could definitely be some blowback. Would it be enough to cause a few congressmen or senators to lose their seats? I kind of doubt that, but it's possible, and it definitely is not helpful for Republicans. And Democrats are going to be screaming about this for the next 11 months, I'm sure.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Matthew, for joining us and explaining all that to us. And